Welcome to Max Life, Man, your essential YouTube channel, expertly led by our top expert, Dr. Sterling Thorne. Dr. Thorne and his top team from the prestigious Evergreen Peaks Institute bring years of dedicated research and hands-on experience in men's health. We deliver insightful, heartfelt podcasts designed to optimize your health and unlock your best self. Gentlemen, let me speak straight. If you're over 60, there's a secret nobody told you about your body, and it's hiding in plain sight. It's not about what you eat, it's not about how often you go to the gym, it's about what you do when you're alone. Yes, I'm talking about masturbation after 60. Now, society told you two lies. The first, that it's harmless at any age, a natural stress relief. The second, that talking about it after 60 is shameful, so keep quiet. But here's the problem. Both lies are costing older men their health. And today I'm going to show you why. Because there are 4 dangerous mistakes men make with masturbation after 60. Mistakes that silently harm your prostate, weaken your erections, inflame your nerves, and drain your testosterone. Mistakes most men don't even know they're making until the damage is done. But let me start with a question. Last night when you woke up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom, did you ever stop to wonder why? Did you think it's just age? Did you accept that your prostate will grow, your erections will fade, and your energy will never come back? I'm here to tell you that's wrong. That decline is not natural. It's not just getting old. It's the result of small habits that sabotage you day after day. And masturbation mistakes done the wrong way are one of the most overlooked culprits. I've seen this for decades in my practice as a urologist. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who felt embarrassed, defeated, and hopeless until they discovered that change was possible. Now, before I break down the 4 mistakes, let me pause for something important. I want you to stop what you're doing right now and hit that like button. Why? Not for me, for you. Because when you do, you're sending a signal to YouTube, yes, but also to yourself, that your health matters. You're saying, I choose life, I choose vitality, I choose to take control. And here's where it gets interesting. I've seen it over and over. Men who who take that one small action of commitment, are the same men who go on to make real changes. It's as if the universe responds. It's as if you open a door inside yourself. So I'll give you my blessing here and now. Those who will not only learn the truth, they'll feel a shift, more peace, more energy, a surprising lift in mood this very week. Maybe even the exact breakthrough you've been praying for. Try it. Don't take my word, test it. Tap like and watch how the universe responds. And let's be honest, you've liked videos of dogs, cars, or comedy before. Why not like a video that could add years of strength, joy, and fire to your life? Because here's the truth. When you hit like, you're not just helping this channel, you're helping yourself. You're telling the YouTube algorithm, show me more of this, show me more wisdom for men, show me more ways to heal, grow, and thrive. Now, back to the truth nobody is saying out loud. I'll never forget a man named Harold. He was 67, a retired firefighter, proud, strong, but defeated. He told me, Doc, I think I'm broken. My body doesn't work like it used to. He was embarrassed to admit that he'd been relying on nightly masturbation to stay active, but he never gave his body time to recover. He didn't know he was damaging the very nerves and vessels he depended on. When we fixed his routine, added recovery, strengthened his pelvic floor, corrected his timing, something remarkable happened. His morning erections returned, his energy lifted, his marriage reignited. He cried in my office, not out of shame, but relief. Gentlemen, that's why we're here. Because you deserve to know what Harold learned. Decline is not destiny. You are not broken. You are simply missing the right information. And today I'll give it to you. 4 mistakes, 4 silent destroyers, and 4 opportunities to reclaim what you thought was gone. So buckle in. Stay with me. By the end of this session, you'll know exactly what to stop doing, what to start doing, and how to take back control. But remember, I need you with me in this. Not just listening, but engaging. Tap that like button. Leave a comment, even if it's just one to say, I'm here, I'm listening, because I read every comment and I respond. We're building a brotherhood here, a place where older men don't have to suffer in silence. And here's my promise if you engage. If you take this seriously, you'll not only protect your prostate and strengthen your erections, you'll discover a confidence, a dignity, a joy you thought belonged to your younger self. Gentlemen, I'll ask you this. What's worth more, a few seconds of habit or the return of your strength, your manhood, your fire? Let's get into the first mistake, because what you don't know is costing you more than you realize. Gentlemen, let's get honest about the first mistake, overdoing frequency. Most older men believe that the more they practice, the better they'll preserve function. They think of it like a muscle, use it or lose it. And while there's some truth in that, the problem is that after 60, the rules change. Your nervous system, your circulation, and your prostate are not the same as when you were 20. What used to keep you sharp can now wear you down. I had a patient named George, age 64, a retired mechanic. He came into my office looking exhausted. "Doc, I don't understand. I try to stay active every single day. I thought that was the secret to keeping my manhood alive. But the more I do it, the weaker I feel." He wasn't imagining things. His energy was dropping, his erections were softer, and his prostate was inflamed. Here's why. After ejaculation, your body needs time to recover. Testosterone dips temporarily. Nerves in the pelvic region are fatigued. Blood vessels need to re-expand. At younger ages, recovery can take hours, but after 60, recovery may take 2, 3, even 4 days. Ignore that, and you end up draining your system instead of strengthening it. Research from the International Journal of Impotence Research shows that excessive frequency after 60 correlates with lower testosterone levels and higher incidence of erectile dysfunction. Why? Because the delicate balance of hormones and nerve signaling simply doesn't bounce back as fast. Let me paint the picture. Imagine your prostate as a pump and your pelvic nerves as wiring. Every time you overstimulate, that pump and wiring need downtime to cool off. But if you keep flipping the switch day after day, you're not giving the system a chance to reset. Eventually, the pump overheats, the wiring shorts, and the whole system malfunctions. Now, here's the part nobody tells you. It's not just about erections. Overdoing frequency also affects sleep, memory, and even mood. Many men report brain fog, irritability, and fatigue, but they never connect it to their private habits. Instead, they blame getting old. So what's the solution? Balance. Frequency should fit your age and recovery ability. For most men over 60, once or twice a week is enough to maintain health and confidence without draining energy. Some men thrive at 3 times a week, rarely more. What matters is listening to your body. Do you feel restored, or do you feel depleted? That answer is your truth. Let me give you an example of the turnaround. George, the mechanic, cut back from daily to twice a week. At first he panicked, worried he'd lose his edge. But within a month, he noticed something unexpected. His morning erections returned. His energy at the shop, where he tinkered with old cars as a hobby, improved. His mood lifted. His wife noticed he was more patient, more focused. In his words, "Doc, it's like I finally gave my body permission to breathe." Gentlemen, this is the secret. Less can be more. Frequency isn't a badge of honor. It's a measure of balance. So ask yourself right now, are you chasing quantity out of fear? Or are you willing to trust recovery, trust balance, and discover that fewer, deeper, stronger experiences bring more satisfaction, not just in the bedroom, but in your whole life? And let me say this again. If you're listening and thinking this might be me, hit that like button. Not because it helps the channel, but because it's your way of saying, I choose strength over fear. I choose wisdom over habit. And for every man who taps like, I'll send a blessing, may your energy rise, your body heal, and your nights grow stronger. Mistake #1 is about overdoing frequency. And the truth is, what feels like keeping active may be quietly robbing you. But once you fix it, the road opens. And now it's time to uncover the second mistake, one that hides deeper in the very signals your body has been whispering to you for years. Gentlemen, the second mistake is one that most men don't just make, they live in it for years, ignoring the signals from your prostate. Now let me ask you straight, yes or no, did you get up last night more than once to urinate? If your answer is yes, you are already getting signals from your prostate. If your answer is no, then count yourself fortunate, but stay alert because for most men after 60, those signals eventually come. The tragedy is this: most men shrug them off. I'm older, it's normal. They laugh about the midnight shuffle to the bathroom. But behind the joke is a warning. Frequent nighttime urination, difficulty starting, weak flow, or that constant feeling of not being empty. These aren't quirks of age. They are red flags. I had a patient named Leonard, 69, who joked, "Doc, I don't need an alarm clock anymore. My bladder wakes me up." He thought it was funny, but when we checked, his prostate was already enlarged and inflamed. Worse, the constant strain was putting pressure on his kidneys. What he ignored as just part of being old was in fact a silent threat to his health. Here's the truth: the prostate is small, but its impact is enormous. When it grows inflamed, often from hormone shifts, diet, or yes, overstimulation, it squeezes the urethra. Blood flow suffers, erections fade, nerves misfire, sleep gets interrupted. And over time, the strain can even affect the heart. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that men with untreated prostate enlargement are significantly more likely to suffer urinary tract damage and erectile dysfunction. Yet the majority of men delay seeking help until the condition is severe. Why? Shame, silence, the belief that nothing can be done. But gentlemen, let me be crystal clear. Ignoring prostate signals doesn't make them harmless. It makes them louder. And if you keep ignoring, your body will raise the volume until you cannot look away, whether that's through painful infections, complete blockage, or permanent damage. So what should you do? First, listen. Count how many times you get up at night. Pay attention to the force of your stream. Notice if you feel empty afterward. These small signals are your body whispering before it starts shouting. Second, take action early. Simple steps: hydration, anti-inflammatory foods like tomatoes and pumpkin seeds, pelvic floor exercises, and balanced frequency can all protect the prostate. But only if you act before it's too late. Leonard, the patient I mentioned, changed his diet, cut out alcohol at night, and followed a prostate-friendly regimen. Within 3 months, he was sleeping 6 hours straight without waking. His wife told me, "Doc, it feels like we're 20 years younger, not just because he sleeps, but because I do too." Gentlemen, let me circle back to that question. Did you get up last night more than once? If yes, drop it in the comments below. Just type yes. If no, type no. Because admitting where you stand is the first step toward change. And when you share, you'll be surprised how many brothers here are in the same fight. Mistake #2 is all about silence, about ignoring the body's whispers until they become screams. But once you start listening, you gain power. And that power is what carries us to the third mistake, one that hides in plain sight, in the very technique men rely on without realizing it's working against them. Gentlemen, let's get brutally honest. The third mistake is one that almost nobody talks about in public, but it's destroying men's health behind closed doors. Using the wrong technique. You see, most men after 60 carry habits from their younger years. Quick, aggressive, focused only on release. And back then, maybe you got away with it. But as the years pass, that style of stimulation doesn't just stop working, it actually causes harm. Here's what I mean. The nerves that control erection and sensation run like delicate wiring along the base of the penis and into the pelvic floor. They're sensitive like guitar strings, built for rhythm, not for constant pounding. When a man uses too much force, too much friction, or the death grip technique, those nerves get desensitized. Blood vessels collapse under the pressure. Over time, you literally train your body not to respond to normal arousal. I'll never forget Charles, age 71, a retired truck driver. He came to me with tears in his eyes. "Doc, I can't feel anything anymore unless it's extreme. Even when I'm with my wife, it's like my body forgot what to do." After a long conversation, it came out. For years, he had used a tight, aggressive grip, thinking that was the only way to finish quickly. What he didn't realize was that he had desensitized his nerves to the point that natural intimacy no longer registered, and science backs this up. A 2016 study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine described this phenomenon as masturbation-induced erectile dysfunction. Men who relied on rough or unnatural techniques developed long-term issues with arousal and performance. Here's the painful irony. What starts as a shortcut to pleasure can end as a roadblock to real connection. Many older men secretly suffer from this, ashamed to admit that their own technique betrayed them. So, what's the solution? First, gentleness. Treat your body as something you want to preserve, not punish. Second, variety. Change positions, pacing, and avoid excessive pressure. Third, alignment with reality. Focus on sensations that resemble natural intimacy rather than artificial extremes. That way you retrain your nerves to respond the way they were designed to. Charles, the truck driver, made changes. It wasn't easy. He had to unlearn decades of habit, but slowly sensitivity returned. His words still echo in my mind. "Doc, it feels like I got my body back." And his marriage, stronger than ever. Gentlemen, let me ask you, are you training your body toward life or toward numbness? Every technique you use is a vote for connection or a vote for disconnection, a vote for health or a vote for decline. And I want you to do something here. If you've ever wondered whether your technique might be harming you, drop the word thinking in the comments, because acknowledging it is the first step. You'll be surprised how many other men quietly type the same. Mistake #3 is about how you do it, because frequency is one thing, but technique, that's the difference between rewiring your body for strength or silently sabotaging yourself. And that leads us to the fourth mistake. One men dismiss until it's too late, neglecting recovery time. Gentlemen, the very first mistake I want to put under the spotlight is one most older men make without even realizing it: overdoing frequency. For decades, you've been told, use it or lose it. The idea that if you don't stay active every single day, your body will simply shut down. And yes, there's a grain of truth there. Activity matters. But here's the problem. After 60, your body doesn't reset as quickly as it once did. What used to be training in your 20s or 30s can become overtraining in your 60s and 70s. I'll tell you about a man named Robert, 65, a retired school teacher who came to me looking defeated. "Doc, I thought if I just kept at it every day, I'd stay strong. But the more I do it, the weaker I feel. My energy is flat, my erections softer, and my sleep a mess." He wasn't imagining things. What Robert didn't know was that by pushing too often, he was draining his system instead of preserving it. Here's why. After release, your testosterone temporarily dips. Your nervous system shifts from the sympathetic drive mode into the parasympathetic rest mode. Your pelvic nerves need time to recharge. Your blood vessels need to refill with nitric oxide. In your 20s, this reset might take a few hours. But in your 60s, it can take days. A study in the International Journal of Impotence Research showed that excessive frequency in older men directly correlated with lower testosterone levels, greater fatigue, and higher risk of erectile dysfunction. In other words, more is not better. More can actually mean less. Think of it like this: your body is a rechargeable battery. In youth, you can drain it and it refills quickly. In age, the charging takes longer. If you keep draining before the charge completes, the battery never reaches full strength. And over time, the capacity itself shrinks. Gentlemen, this is where balance comes in. For most men over 60, once or twice a week is plenty to maintain vitality. Some men do fine at 3, but daily, or worse, multiple times a day, is a recipe for chronic fatigue, desensitization, and prostate irritation. And let's not ignore the wider effects. Overdoing frequency doesn't just hit your bedroom. It affects your sleep, your mood, even your memory. Many men report brain fog and irritability, but they never connect it back to what they are doing in private. Instead, they blame age. But the truth, it's not age, it's imbalance. Robert, the retired teacher, cut his frequency back from daily to twice a week. At first, he panicked, afraid he would lose it completely. But within a month, his energy came back. He woke with stronger morning erections. He felt calmer. His wife told me, "Doc, he's like himself again, patient, warm, not drained all the time." That's the power of balance. So let me ask you directly, gentlemen, are you pushing too hard out of fear, or are you willing to trust recovery, trust balance, and discover that less can be more? Here's what I want you to do. If you've ever wondered whether you might be overdoing it, type the word balance in the comments, because acknowledging it is the first step toward change. And when you share, you'll see how many other men here are in the same boat. And before we move on, hit that like button, not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself. When you do, you're saying, I choose wisdom over fear. I choose strength over habit. And may every man who taps like today find his energy restored, his confidence rebuilt, and his nights filled with power again. Mistake #1 is about overdoing frequency, and once you correct it, you'll start to feel your strength return. But there's another mistake that hides in plain sight, one older men dismiss until it's too late, ignoring the signals of the prostate. Gentlemen, the second mistake is one of the most dangerous, because it hides in plain sight, ignoring the signals from your prostate. Let me ask you a blunt question right now, yes or no. Did you wake up more than once last night to urinate? If your answer is yes, then your prostate is already sending you a message. If your answer is no, then I'm glad, but stay vigilant because for most men over 60, those signals eventually knock at the door. The problem is too many men shrug it off. I'm older, it's normal. They laugh about stumbling to the bathroom at 2 a.m. or tease each other about the old man bladder. But behind the joke is a warning that's deadly serious. Your prostate is like a gatekeeper. When it becomes enlarged or inflamed, it squeezes the urethra, restricts blood flow, and irritates the nerves. That's why you wake at night, why your stream weakens, why you feel like you're never fully empty. And here's the kicker, what starts as a nuisance can end up as permanent damage if ignored. I'll tell you about Leonard, 69, a retired accountant. He laughed when I asked about his prostate. Doc, I don't need an alarm clock. My bladder wakes me up every 2 hours. He thought it was a joke, but his tests revealed significant enlargement, irritation, and pressure building against his kidneys. What he brushed off as just age was silently wrecking his body. And Leonard isn't alone. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that untreated prostate enlargement not only disrupts sleep, but doubles the risk of chronic infections, weakens erections, and in advanced cases even leads to kidney strain. That's not normal aging, that's neglect. Gentlemen, I want you to hear this clearly. Your body whispers before it screams. Frequent urination, weak flow, dribbling after, pressure in the lower abdomen, those are whispers. Ignore them, and eventually your body will scream through pain, infections, or permanent erectile dysfunction. The good news? Action makes a difference. I've had countless patients turn things around with simple steps. Dietary changes like adding tomatoes, pumpkin seeds, and cutting back on alcohol. Hydration timing, drink earlier in the day, not late at night. Exercise, yes, those same pelvic floor exercises we talked about. Balanced frequency, avoiding overdoing it, which irritates the prostate. When Leonard finally listened, he shifted his habits, improved his diet, and worked on circulation. 3 months later, he told me, Doc, I sleep 6 hours straight now. My wife says she feels 20 years younger because she sleeps through the night, too. That's the difference listening makes. So let me circle back to you. Did you get up last night more than once? Drop it in the comments. Just type yes or no. Because when you speak up, you not only claim accountability for yourself, you also show other men that they are not alone. And trust me, many will recognize their own story in yours. Mistake #2 is about silence. It's about ignoring the whispers until they become roars. But the moment you start listening to your body, you reclaim power. And that brings us to the next mistake, one that men rarely realize until it's already caused years of damage, using the wrong technique. Gentlemen, the fifth mistake is one that has quietly stolen health from millions of older men, relying on pills instead of fixing the root. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to demonize medication. As a urologist, I've prescribed them. Pills can help in the short term, they can boost confidence, they can buy time. But here's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. They don't heal, they only mask. And if you rely on them alone, the problem doesn't pause, it keeps growing underneath. Let me tell you about Thomas, age 71. He came into my clinic with a bag of prescriptions. "Doc," he said, "they worked for a while, but now nothing." He thought the medicine stopped working. But when I looked deeper, the reality was harsher. His arteries were stiff, his nerves fatigued, his testosterone suppressed. Pills can amplify blood flow, but only if there's blood flow left to amplify. If the foundation crumbles, the pill has nothing to build on. Research in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that nearly 40% of older men who relied solely on medication reported waning effectiveness within a few years. Not because the pill changed, but because their body kept declining beneath the surface. And here's the part too many men discover too late. Every time you rely on a pill without changing lifestyle, you postpone the real fix. You delay circulation training, you ignore prostate health, you skip recovery, you forget sleep, you let sugar run wild, and eventually you end up weaker, dependent, and disappointed. Gentlemen, let me use an image. Pills are like jumper cables. If your car battery is weak, jumper cables can start the engine. But if you never replace the battery, eventually no amount of cables will help. Your body is the same. You need to rebuild the battery, not just spark the engine. That's why I teach my patients to use medication, if needed, as a bridge, not the foundation. Meanwhile, rebuild the roots. Circulation with daily walking, nitric oxide foods like beets and spinach. Hormones with sleep, strength training, and healthy fats. Nerves with pelvic floor training and recovery time. Prostate health with diet, hydration, and monitoring. Thomas, the man I mentioned, finally understood this. He kept his prescription but made the changes. 6 months later, he told me, "Doc, I still keep the pill, but honestly, I don't need it like before. My body responds on its own." His smile said everything. So here's the question I'll ask you. Are you leaning on pills as your foundation, or are you building a body that heals itself? If you've ever felt trapped by medication, type freedom in the comments. Let's see how many of you are ready to move beyond the quick fix. And as always, tap that like button if this resonates. Because every like tells YouTube that older men deserve real answers, not empty promises. And may every man who clicks it find the courage to face the root, not just the symptom. Mistake #5 is about shortcuts that backfire. And once you see past the illusion, you're ready for the truth. The simple, free, powerful medicine most men still ignore: sleep. Gentlemen, mistake number 6 may surprise you because it has nothing to do with what happens in the bedroom at night, and everything to do with how you prepare your body before you even get there. The mistake: forgetting the role of sleep. You think sleep is just rest. But let me be clear, sleep is the most anabolic, restorative, performance-enhancing medicine you'll ever take, and it's free. Yet most men neglect it, especially after 60. They stay up late with television, scrolling, worrying, or restless habits, and then they wonder why their body feels 10 years older the next day. Here's what happens when you cut sleep short. Testosterone crashes. A Harvard study found that men who slept fewer than 5 hours a night saw testosterone levels drop to those of men 10-15 years older. Imagine aging a decade in one summer just because you stayed up past midnight. Circulation weakens. Deep sleep is when your blood vessels repair and nitric oxide levels replenish. Without it, erections fade and energy collapses. Nervous system overloads. Sleep is where the reset button is pressed. Without it, nerves stay inflamed, leaving you jittery, fatigued, and less responsive. Cortisol rises. Poor sleep raises stress hormones, which pack fat around the belly, weaken the prostate, and shut down libido. Let me give you an example. Martin, 66, a retired electrician, told me, "Doc, I'm eating right, exercising, even doing those pelvic floor exercises, but I still feel drained." The truth came from his wife. He's up till 1 a.m. every night watching late-night shows. That was the missing piece. Once he committed to a bedtime routine, lights out by 10:30, no screens, and a short walk after dinner, his morning erections returned, his energy lifted, and his mood transformed. His wife joked, "Doc, I think he's finally outpacing me again." Gentlemen, I want you to hear this. Lack of sleep is not harmless. It's a slow poison. It robs your body of hormones, blood flow, and vitality. And every hour you sacrifice after midnight is a debt your body has to pay with interest. So let me ask you directly, when was the last time you woke up and actually felt fully restored? If you can't remember, that's your wake-up call. Here's your action step. Protect sleep like it's sacred. Set a bedtime. Stick to it. Darken your room, avoid alcohol before bed, and walk 10 minutes after dinner to help your body drift into deeper rest. Because no supplement, no pill, no secret trick can replace what 8 hours of quality sleep does naturally. If you're willing to take sleep seriously from tonight forward, type sleep in the comments. And if you've ever paid the price for staying up too late, hit that like button as your promise to reclaim your nights. May every man who taps like tonight find not just sleep, but healing, strength, and restored vitality. Mistake #6 is forgetting sleep. And once you honor it, you realize the power of nature's medicine. But there's another silent destroyer, and it's one that sneaks into every meal, every craving, and every hidden sugar packet. And that's where we're going next. Gentlemen, mistake number 7 is one that sneaks up quietly, without pain, without warning, until one day it takes everything from you, ignoring blood sugar control. Most men think sugar only affects weight. Eat too much, you get a belly. But the truth is far darker. Sugar isn't just about fat. It's about your arteries, your nerves, your circulation, and ultimately your ability to perform. Here's the science. Every time you eat processed sugar, soda, white bread, pastries, your blood sugar spikes. That spike scars the delicate lining of your arteries. Those arteries stiffen, narrow, and lose their flexibility. And when blood can't flow smoothly, erections fade, energy collapses, and memory declines. I once treated David, 70, a retired steel worker. He came to me frustrated, saying, "Doc, the switch doesn't flip anymore." His lab work revealed the truth: high fasting glucose, rising A1C, early insulin resistance. He wasn't just dealing with erectile dysfunction. His whole system was under siege. We made small but powerful changes, swapping his nightly desserts for nuts and berries, adding a walk after meals, and cutting back on alcohol. Within 90 days, his blood sugar stabilized, his circulation improved, and his vitality returned. His words still ring in my ears. "Doc, I thought I was losing manhood. Turns out I was just feeding the enemy." And it's not just anecdotal. A 2013 study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that men with poor blood sugar control were nearly twice as likely to suffer erectile dysfunction compared to men with stable glucose. Not a little more likely, twice. That's not coincidence. That's cause and effect. Here's another piece. Sugar inflames nerves, and what do erections depend on? Nerve signals. Damaged nerves mean delayed response, weaker sensation, and eventually complete dysfunction. Gentlemen, I want you to hear this as clearly as possible. Ignoring sugar is like letting termites eat your house. You don't notice the damage until the foundation is hollow. So what can you do? Cut out processed sugars, ditch sodas, candy, and late-night pastries. Add fiber, vegetables, legumes, whole grains slow the sugar spike. Walk after meals. Just 10 minutes lowers blood sugar naturally. Prioritize sleep. Poor sleep makes insulin resistance worse. Simple steps, massive payoff. Now let me ask you directly, what's worth more? 5 minutes of sweetness on your tongue, or the return of your strength, confidence, and fire? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you're ready to take sugar seriously, type "no sugar" down below. And before we move on, hit that like button. Not for me, but as your public declaration that you will no longer let sugar rob you of your future. And may every man who taps like tonight discover renewed energy, restored performance, and freedom from cravings that once enslaved him. Mistake #7 is ignoring blood sugar. And once you control it, you protect your circulation, your nerves, and your manhood. From here, we move to the 8th mistake, one that many men brush aside as harmless. But in truth, it's the silent erosion of your foundation.